Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is SOESD's Indian Education Program, and this is our CPC Consortium Parent Committee Council. And we do have a new member to welcome, so we'll do our introductions. Anepewashte, good evening. My name is JC Swick. I'm Lakota Oyate. I'm a proud citizen of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and I'm also a descendant of Standing Rock. And I'm extremely proud of who I am. And I work for the Indian Ed program as a facilitator. And I'll just popcorn it over to Lisi.
Hi, I'm Lisi Prusco. I'm the program manager for the Indian Education Program here at the SOESD. And I would just love to be able to support the program and hear what families have to say so that I can help support and work with our districts to help your kids.
And Andrea, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, good evening. I'm Andrea Townsend, and I'm the Focal Student Group's department coordinator, and I work with Lisi. And as she stated, our role is to support the school districts and the families in the implementation of the Title VI program.
And then Allison, do you want to go? And then we'll have Mariah introduce herself last so she has a little bit more of listening to people do it before she
Yeah,
goes for the first
sure.
time. Thanks,
So,
babe.
Alison Querit Nahanko Donna Eyite, my name is Allison and I'm of the Calgary people. I just wanted to pop on here briefly today and chat a little bit about January. So I am an emergency medical technician and I've served our community for 7 years now in the emergency department. And I thought it was an important thing just to bring up that January is the National Human Trafficking Prevention Month. And I think some good points here in this meeting would be to bring up that this is something that can be hard to talk about, but it's important to talk about with our kiddos, and just kind of safeguard them in our community and make sure that they are aware of risks, along with things to recognize, like with their peers, just to make sure that they can protect themselves and other people. So obviously, we want to be able to ID signs of trafficking and encourage reporting anything that they notice. These are good conversations to have as parents with your kiddos. And I just wanted to say, like, 2026, so this year is focusing and emphasizing that everyday actions and community awareness are critical to prevention. Um, so there is a good site that I found that I will put into our chat after that has 20 ways you can help fight human trafficking. Some of the things I thought would be great for parents and kiddos to look out on there are including things like encouraging school districts to add information about human trafficking to their curriculum and to develop protocols for identifying and reporting this kind of stuff. Another great thing I thought was on that link are for parents and caregivers to learn how human traffickers target and recruit youth. So a good way to bring this up is like host conversations with other parents and different committees and at schools and with law enforcement in your community, just to make sure that we're safeguarding our children in these situations. And then the last point I wanted to bring up out of that 20 ways to help fight trafficking is for youth to learn to recognize signs so that they're keeping themselves and their peers safe. So they also can learn how to navigate out of suspicious or uncomfortable situations if they ever find themselves in one and reach out for help at any time. So I have a few websites and a direct link to that article that I can post in our chat for you guys. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Allison. We also had like the really distinct honor of receiving Miss Katrina Sims, who's a Siletz tribal member at the Kirbyville powwow. And she actually started a nonprofit in Humboldt, California, as she herself is a survivor of human trafficking. And so I would also encourage you to look at her resources because it's a Native owned organization and Native led. And unfortunately, we're the demographic, that gets targeted. These are real issues that affect our children. And I just want to thank you so much, Allison, for your courage and your bravery. And they are difficult issues to talk about, but they need to be talked about, because culture is prevention. But also in this one regard, our culture also puts a target on us. So thank you. Okay, so we'll have Steph, Randall, or Jemiah, whoever would like to go next to introduce yourselves. And then y'all get to meet Mariah. Or does anyone have questions for Allison? Okay, great. Oh, and she's putting the resources, and I will put them in the post. If you're watching this at a later date, you can scroll to the bio of the video, and they should be there. Thanks, Allison. That was really, really great. Good job. All right, whoever wants to go next, Randall, Jemiah, Steph.
Hey, my name's Stephanie. I forgot what I'm supposed to say. Oh my goodness, my mind just blanked. My husband and children are at Cow Creek, and I work from home as a in the self-publishing industry, and I am here to be supportive in any way I can be.
Thank you. And then Randall and Jemiah, I don't know if you have the capacity, but if you do, please pop in.
I do. I agree. My name is Jemiah. I'm a Yurok tribal member, mother of 4, and I'm currently at basketball practice. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, my name is Randall McAllister. I am a Yurok tribal member, and I apologize if it's loud in here. Been on the CPC for 2 years, and my son is a senior at a lieutenant. I'm here to help out in any way possible. I'm proud of who I am.
Thank you so much, Randall. So Randall, if the video wasn't clear, he's a Karuk tribal member. His son Aaron is a senior this year, and absolutely fantastic child, very busy, very active. So they are out doing that. Okay, Mariah, will you please introduce yourself to everybody?
Mariah Star Gonzalez, Dagado, Chichalgi. Hey everyone, my name is Mariah Star Gonzalez. I hail from Cherokee Nation. Myself and my children are all enrolled. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you. So we did have a vacancy with the CPC, and it was a co-chair position. So currently that's still vacant, and we have the possibilities of anyone from, as it states right now in our bylaws, we have the possibility of anyone from Jackson County to fill that position. So for the next meeting, I would like to propose a vote to have that officially filled by any of our members. So that's going to be Mariah, Randall, Allison, and Jackie. And the reason we did that in the very beginning is because Jackson and Josephine are very, very different geographically. And so we like having the balance because we serve both counties in our program. So Josephine is more rural, things like that. And then also we're making sure that we're doing equal parts for both sides. And so I think the balance is also important to have represented in our council, as that's also our program. So great. So if you are interested in that position, please let me know. The co-chair typically runs these meetings and does most of the talking. And we can send that out too. Believe I already sent out the bylaws, but we can send them out again. And then for next meeting, we would also make any changes that need to happen for this school year. Just make sure they're as accurate and up to date as possible. Okay. So plowing through the agenda, we also need student leader positions. So if you know any capable high schoolers, it's great for college scholarships. It's great for resumes. They can also use it as their student credit hours if needed. But also really for those applications, it's volunteer experience, which a lot of things, it really beefs it up to say that you've served on an official capacity. But also, we serve students, so it's good to have that student voice to make sure that we're grounded in it and that's our focus and that's what we're doing. So if you know students, send them. And then Allison, we've already talked to. So next on our agenda is Lisi. She's going to talk about some updates and some tribal consultation updates. So, okay. Oh, great. Thank you, Allison. So Allison just put more in the chat. It's inourbackyard.org, Unbound Now, A21.org. And they are interactive, age-appropriate tools for students to recognize, prevent, and report trafficking. And then also, Lisi, Andrea, and I were part of a kind of like a Indian Ed state professional learning kind of meeting. And Healthy Native Youth is actually based out of the Northwest. And they have many, many, many resources. And also everything's ready to go as a guide, age appropriate as well. They have many programs focused on mental health. They have an Ask an Auntie or Ask an Elder program where you can get text messages daily. It's just a really wonderful organization, and I will also share that. Okay, so next on the agenda is Lisi. Lisi, let me make you co-host and you can take it away.
Okay, thank you. Honestly, I don't know that I even need to be co-host because I really just wanted to kind of orally share two pieces and get your input and your thoughts. One of them is, one of the things that we have been in our department working on for the last, couple of years that is fundamentally an important part of the Indian education program. And I realized I didn't know to the extent or if information about it had been shared with the CPC yet. So I just wanted to make sure that we were making that connection. So one of the requirements of school districts in the state of Oregon is to engage in a formal tribal consultation process. And there are requirements about which tribes the districts will engage in that process with, and some of the pieces that are involved. And so the 4 tribes that we have been working with have been the Klamath tribes, the Kokok tribes, the Cow Creek Band of the Umpqua Indians tribe, and the Confederated tribes of Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Sisla Indians. So those are the 4 tribes that we have been consulting with. And what it looks like is that we basically play host as the ESD. We host an event, and we've been doing it virtually. We did it once in person, and that was wonderful to get to meet everybody in person. But as you can imagine, it's really difficult and it can be expensive in terms of travel for that. So everyone's been kind of preferring to do it virtually, but twice a year, once in the fall and then once in the midwinter, we gather everyone via Zoom, and we set up a schedule where each district has an opportunity to meet for 30 minutes with each tribal representative. And the districts share some of their programs that they have. So in the fall, they talk about their different federal programs, and such as like migrant education and their Title I, and some of their other title programs that they might have. And then in the spring, they talk about other state grant programs that they have. And they share what they're doing, and they share data about Native students specifically to the extent that they have that access to that data. And they ask for input from the tribes and try to learn more about how they can be better designing their programs so that they can support Native students. And so it's been a very interesting process for us to engage in and support. And we share information about the Indian Education Program there as well with both the districts and the tribes. And so I wanted to just bring that to the CPC and just, kind of put that out there that we are going to be having our next tribal consultation is going to be on February 11th. And so I was wondering if there are any issues, topics, questions, concern, anything that coming from you as parents that you would like to be considered or be a part of that dialogue between the districts and the tribes, and then I could support in bringing that to the process. So that's the first thing I would just like to ask about, if anyone has thoughts or questions or anything about that.
I'm sure that I could come up with some. I think if you give me a little more time, just to have time to kind of think more in depth about things that I would like, to possibly bring up, or probably for all of us, just to have a little more time.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. So yeah, so just, think on it. You can talk with other families, talk within your family, talk to your kids, whatever however you want to process that, and feel free to follow up. You can follow up with me, or you can follow up with JC and she can forward it on to me. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, everyone was aware that that is happening, and that we it's really important that your voice is included in that. The second thing is sort of on a related note. So last spring, our superintendent, Dr. Mark Engel-Hobson, is relatively new to the role. This is his first year as a superintendent. And so last spring, like almost a year ago, he went through the process of meeting with the superintendents and leaders of all the districts in our region, and just kind of talking with them and asking what they needed. And one of the things that came out was something that he brought to our department, the Focal Student Groups department, which was he was asking for our help to try to get more input from families who have different perspectives that maybe they haven't been able to gather or hear. And so that could look like a listening session, or it could look like a survey or something like that. But basically, the superintendents were hoping that our department could help facilitate getting input, getting feedback, getting the perspectives of families. And so the Indian Education Program it's a great opportunity for us to try to, hear your voices and hear the voices of your kids and what their educational experiences are like, and what the districts can and should be doing to give them the best educational experiences possible. So that's another thing. If you want to think on that, I mean, it's kind of interwoven with the other question, right? One has to do more with bringing it to the tribal consultation process, but the other is, I think, more broad, and it's really bringing it to the highest levels of the district, the superintendents, and giving them information. And one of the things that I think makes this really important is the somewhat of an erasure of representation of Native students within our data that we have. And earlier this year, I was in a statewide Indian education program meeting with the ODE, and they had people from their assessment, like data specialists from the Oregon Department of Education, sharing. And one of the things that came up is that we run into in our area is that, when you're looking at data to see how are Native students doing in school, a lot of times you will have a lack of information because they are only looking at students whose ethnicity was only recorded as American Indian, Alaska Native with no other self-identities. And if for example, you were to put down when you register your children that you marked the American Indian, Alaska Native selection, and you also marked Black African American or Hispanic or white or anything else, they would be reported as multiracial. And that data is not as available. So it's hard for us to tease out like how are Native students really doing in school because the data is often not there, or if they're only looking at just students who only have the American Indian Alaska Native flag and their registration, that it's such a small number compared to the overall number of Native students that they say, oh, well, there's so few students that we're not even going to give data. We're just going to put an asterisk there because we're going to say that the number of students was too small for us to report the data. So it makes it really hard for us to look at the existing data and say, how are the kids doing? And so having this ability to tell your stories and have your kids tell their stories and have more of a qualitative way of talking about their experiences rather than having us just look at test scores or state assessment scores, I think is really important because otherwise the voice isn't showing up in the numbers. And so we need the voice to show up in other ways. So again, if you want to just kind of think about that, and if you have other ideas, like JC and I were talking about how, maybe we could do like a listening session at one of the culture nights to have an opportunity to have a conversation, and you guys can talk about what is going on with your kids' schooling and do it that way, or we can also do surveys that we can send out to people. And so there's just a lot of ways we can do it, but if you want to just kind of think on that and then let me know or let JC know what you think is going to work, we can make plans to do that because it's really important that you and your kids' voices are heard by the highest levels of the districts.
Yeah, so just quite simply, basically what has happened is in order, hey Echo. I said hey and echo at the same time. It came out, hey El, that's just how Native I am. Hey, that's a song. That's like a traveling song. But basically what's happening is we sometimes have to fight with the pen. That's what Walter Echo Hawk has said. And that's what led to the taking of Alcatraz. It was Berkeley students. And what they did is they used policy to prove a point. And so, these are things that we have to do. I was in this great training with Echo, and they said, this is my Sundance. My Sundance is, data and all of these things so that I can apply for money and have these Native centers, and so it's like, yeah, our children are forced to walk in two worlds, okay? And we want to see the Native representation at school. We know culture is prevention. We know all of these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the numbers are accurate. We're going to make sure our children are accurately counted. And this is an opportunity, if there are things that need to be addressed, then this is going to the highest level. So it's all the chiefs and the TPs that will see this. It's going to literally be all of the highest heads of each district. And so, yeah, let's be as accurate as possible. So we'll figure that out, work it out. And then also, as storytellers, we also share the positive things. So if there's, a lot of positive things or positive teacher interaction, our schools and tribes want to know about it. Yeah. Echo, do you want to introduce yourself really quick and then we'll.
Guys, I'm Echo Miller or Echo Common. I'm enrolled up in Klamath. I'm Modoc and Paiute, and quite a few other tribes. So I like to think of myself as very intertribal. I am the CPC Josephine County representative for the parent committee. I also work at Painted Horse Recovery. That's why you hear the drumming in the background. We have a special meeting going on right now, and they do an hour of drumming and singing before they start their talking circle. So we're really blessed to have a bunch of elders and family in the house tonight. So I will probably be on mute unless you guys have a question from me. So that way, I mean, the music's enjoyable, but it is pretty, it like echoes through our whole building. I like to call our building a longhouse. It's incredible, like woodwork and windows, but the noise goes just like a longhouse. It just fills every corner. So I will be here on mute for you guys if you need me. So,
Thanks, Echo. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. So does anyone have questions regarding tribal consultation or the upcoming needs assessment? Or Lisi, do you have anything to add?
I do just want to point out an important piece that Andrea added in the chat, which is just to be clear that when we're any of this input or needs assessment or listening sessions or surveys, students would not and families would not be identified. It would be completely anonymous. We would be summarizing the themes and making sure that how the story is told to others protects the confidentiality of the students involved. So, we would not necessarily be naming, individual schools or anything that could mark out a certain student or a certain family. So just to be clear on that. And I also just wanted to mention that, like, I thought it was heartening to me when the superintendent brought this to me that the superintendents were asking for this. And I think that's not something that always would be the case, that we would have people at the leadership positions who would be coming to us saying, can you help us? We want to hear from some of these different groups of students whose voices we might not hear. So it makes me feel hopeful that that the information will be received in a good way, and that will help them to actually want to act on it and sincerely have a sincere interest in really hearing it. So that was kind of hopeful too, as opposed to when we try to do things and put them in front of people that don't want to listen. So
that's such a great point. I think we've all experienced that where it's like you give energy and then there's no action back. So this is a very reciprocal thing, but also it's improving for the next year student. So we do the work now. Next year, the school is going to improve districts. We don't know what types of changes or impacts will happen. So it's super important for that too.
There is one more thing, JC. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no,
there's one more thing I just wanted to mention, because we're in getting ready for our Title VI application season, where we are in the process of coming up with our new Indian Education Program rosters. And we have been, we've just got 2 new 506 forms in today with 2 new students being added. And so if you know families, know people who have children who would be eligible for the program and they would like to join the program, we would love to receive more completed 506 forms. For every 506 form that we receive, that is more funds for the program through the grant. And so that's just more that we can do for kids. So it's wonderful. You know, we serve when we have culture nights, we don't, ask anybody to prove that they've submitted a 506 form. We welcome everyone to the events. But it's very helpful when we can have the funds to be able to provide the very best services. So just wanted to remind everybody and thank everybody for turning in 506 forms and it really does help us be able to continue to fund the program.
Yes. So, does anyone have any questions, comments, anything? Our next meeting is next week. That was my bad. January just kind of got away from me, to be completely honest. And then also, so we're going to do bylaws and we're going to vote on co-chair position, for sure. And then just really quickly, I was just going to share our mid-year data report that just got done. Let me find it. We had to pull it into its own tab. I have way too many tabs open. There we go. Okay, so I'll just briefly talk about it, and if anyone has any questions, just unmute and interrupt. But basically, we capture data twice a year. Well, we capture it every single day, but we also put out a report twice a year in the middle of the year and then also at the end. So this just highlights our mission statement, the goals for our program that align within our grant, and also what the CPC is voted on. The background, our student count, we consult with 4 tribes. This is our total funding through only Title VI. So that's what we receive. Direct services to students. We're going to start wrapping up for January's basically scholarship month. And so we'll be starting that off strong. February, April, we're hoping to get campus tours going. And then also in-school support. So CPC, number of meetings that we've had, feedback. It's the same as last year's, guys, and the same photo, but it's a cute photo. Culture nights. So we keep track of pretty much everything. All of the different events that we've had. Feedback from families. The feedback this year has been amazing. We're 5 for 5 for everything. So it's 1 through 5, 1 being poor, 5 being the best, like quality, you're most likely to come back, that kind of stuff. I really love that they highlighted in Josephine County, we do eldered residents. So we also have Nick and Therese often at our culture nights, which we're so blessed for. And we're looking into that for Jackson. So if you have a grandparent or someone you would feel would be really appropriate, please let me know, because it's just invaluable to our children, to learn those teachings, but it's also who we are as people. But yeah, you can see just everything's been, good feedback. People are still coming. We mailed over 2,000 Title VI forms, and that was Becky that hand folded them, saving us a lot of money. In previous years, we had Pronto Print do it, and the cost was pretty high. And this year, she stepped up, folded them all, and mailed them out for us to save our program some money. So I got her a little coffee card for that, because it was like literally days of work. So super nice. We've tabled at quite a few different events. I keep track of if I've received forms from that event. So I've handed out several, but have I gotten them back? Not all the time. But we've done a lot of really fun student performances, keeping families informed, keeping school districts informed. We provide direct support to the schools and the districts. I did two one-day trainings at Ashland School District so far, providing support on supporting Native American students. More feedback. I just love the feedback because it really tells the story more than the numbers do. Yeah. And then tribal consultation, that's just now starting, but I like to show, the tribes of Oregon and how many students we have. I need to update this one. I believe we just got a few more that haven't been added. Our community partners, All Care has been amazing. Cow Creek Band, Umpqua Tribe of Indians, they provided language resources. Conaway, Nicatilicum, Jackson Care Connect provided us a $4,000 grant. The Post Growth Institute offering facilitator trainings. Southern Oregon Indian Center provides our elder and residents. They blanket our graduates. They invite us to share our program and their events. We're always welcome, very reciprocal relationship. SOU's done a lot for us. We've been tabling at their events. We've had some NASU kids come out for Culture Night. That's been amazing. We had Vesper Meadow come out for Culture Night. We'll be working with them in April like we do every year. Yeah, so that's that. And then also, just as a little cherry on top, our so our SOESD, as many of you know, we lost the building in the Alameda fire. And so we are rebuilding strong in Phoenix. And the new building is going to have a big grand opening. We'll make sure you all have information on that if you'd like to attend. But what's super cool is we reached out to the Cow Creek tribe of Umpqua Indians, and they gifted us artwork and the names for all of the conference rooms. So we really wanted to honor the land that we're on. And in this area, Dagelma was spoken. And so we're really, really excited and honored about that. It's going to be really amazing. And just to have that focus. There's also going to be a beautiful mural done at the building that highlights the local tribes and all of that. So I just can't wait. And anyway, so we have this commissioned, and it's going to go to Elizabeth, who works with the Cow Creek Tribal Department. And then I had 3 made for their team. And then we're also going to, just honor them in that good way and highlight the work that they've done and the beautiful gift of artwork and names. So, yeah, so we're doing the things. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any concerns? Is there anything you'd like to see for the next meeting? Please let us know.
Mariah had a great question in the chat
about
great.
The 506 I'm the worst
form.
at looking at that. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You were busy talking about important stuff. So just to clarify, you only need to submit a 506 form one time, and then it's good all the way through 12th grade. The only exception to that was, as JC was talking about, our previous office when it burned in the Alameda fire, that's where the 506 forms were housed. And at that time, we did not have them like scanned or anything. So there were a whole bunch of them that we have not been able to locate. So last year, I went and sent a letter with a blank form to the students who were in our system, but we didn't have a form for. So that was just kind of an unusual situation. But once you filled it out once, it's good for their whole childhood. So thanks for asking that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's honestly nice. But we get them from K through 12, so and it's just been such an honor to see these kids grow. It's like, what is happening? What? We're gonna have so many kids come into the program in the next couple of years that I've met when they were babies. It's like it's wild. It's wild stuff. But
Yeah, that's the other thing, like I noticed when I was going through the 506 forms is that,
mhm.
when like families who filled out 506 forms for their school age kids maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and now their youngest or their younger kids are in kindergarten or first grade or something. And so, sometimes you just like kind of lose track of it. Like, oh, wait, I never did fill out a 506 form for that one,
Mhm.
that student. And so we're trying to kind of catch up on that too and send out like specific for that kid. Like this is the like
Mhm.
these two children do have a form, but these two don't. Or so there might be times when families who have multiple children might get a form because one of the younger ones might not have gotten
It's
a form.
actually really
Yeah.
common from what we've seen when we did a little audit on them. It's super common. And it makes sense,
Yep.
because you get all the benefits of the program as a family.
And life goes fast,
So,
you don't realize like, oh gosh,
yeah,
yeah, my
right.
baby's
And
grown.
like you said too, I'm not like, oh, wait, do I have your form? Like, no, it's like, welcome, come on in, normal things.
I think
All
also
right.
too, like there's the age thing because like the preschool age kiddos, like first I
Yeah.
bring mine, but the
Yeah, of course.
enroll
Yeah.
yet. So
Soon, soon. And then for
Doesn't take long, and then all
graduation
of a sudden
too.
they're like graduating from high school, and you're going, "What happened? I don't know."
I know it really goes fast. And then for our graduation event at the end of the year, I think we're going to include eighth graders. That was something Jabaya had proposed last year, because we really didn't get many of our seniors that were able to make it. And also, I'm probably going to change the location too. That was kind of funky back there, kind of away from everything. So, maybe we could come to Painted Horse for it. In a native space would be really, beautiful, I think. So we'll see. But we will be partnering with Painted Horse throughout. Echo and I have already been talking about possibly doing our makeup culture nights in their space. So it's a well variety, but it's also a family space, because that's who we are as Native people. We don't really separate our children
Actually,
from ourselves. Yeah,
actually, Well Variety is just one of the groups that comes and participates with us. Um, they're their own entity. So yeah.
gotcha.
So yeah, Well Variety is like if we had uh our group come, like we have visitors, and Well Variety is a visitor to Painted Horse for our own separate entity. But I should probably tell you guys it's kind of last minute, but
Not at all.
this is happening this Wednesday. We're doing a giant mill. We're doing face painting. We're going to do a light community walk around Medford. Probably not like a super long walk because we're going to have all the kids and women and everything. So probably just like a half hour, 40-minute, just quick big loop around. But we are based just a couple of miles from the mall, or not miles, a couple of blocks from the mall. So we're like pretty main downtown Medford. And so there's been a lot going on. Missing women and children, the MMIW, is like 3 times a year. This month was a huge thing for it. March, oh God, don't quote me. March 16th, I believe, is like the national day for it. Fifth,
Good.
is it? Yeah, I know it's somewhere in there. And then there's another one in August. So there's quite a few months throughout the year. This one's kind of late notice, but there was a situation that happened with a young girl out of state that has kind of, really red flagged and brought everything back out in our community. And so we're going to be doing that walk. It's a very community. So if anybody wants to come, I have it on my Facebook as well. And there's a flyer up and stuff. Everybody is welcome. It's a very family orientated. We're going to do the face paint, the red face, and then we're going to go walk a light circle. Then we're going to come back, do a shared meal, and then drumming and singing and just community sharing. So yeah. So if anybody is in Medford on Wednesday from 4 to 6, we'll be over here. So
Okay.
toss that in there.
And we'll share it on our Facebook, and we can put it out in Parent Square too to make sure families are informed. I know Allison was thinking about coming with the girls.
Yep.
She shared earlier on Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and these are really heavy topics, but this is how we move forward. It's in community. This is how we heal. We're re-indigenizing how we're dealing with things, and I think that's important.
Yeah, especially for our youth. The more that we educate the children about these, especially our young teenage girls, we have many young ladies in our program, and so it's very important for them to know, how to be safe out there, because it's, pretty scary sometimes. So
well, thank you.
a great
Thank
thing.
you, Allison and Echo, for the work you're doing for our community.
Yeah, thank
we
you.
appreciate you. And we will share that out. Does anyone have any closing thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Is that Vana?
No, that's Nirvana's big now. She don't make none of those cute baby noises. No, that's
don't make baby sounds. Oh, hi.
No, she don't make. She's gonna be starting the program. She's gonna be starting kindergarten. I get her kindergarten interview this year.
What? That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
That's wild.
baby journey.
We were just actually talking about that. So at the graduation ceremony, we'll do the kindergarten welcome again. That'll be so fun. Great.
She's gonna be part of that.
Yeah, she'll get a backpack from the seniors. You're gonna cry. It's so emotional. Jemiah's little baby did it. It was wonderful. It was so great. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah,
just let me know. And we would love to host that here. I know the boss would be really cool. 100%. So
yeah, and we have a bunch of culture nights to make up, and we just would love to have families come and tour the space, and just know that you're there. So thank you.
Yep, we have a big drum that's ready to rock out on. So whenever you guys are ready, just let me know.
Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, totally. Sounds great. Yay, culture night at Echoes. All right. Done.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so our next meeting is going to be in a week. We're going to look at bylaws, and we're going to vote on that co-chair position. Historically, it has been Jackson. So Allison, Mariah, Randall, Jackie. That'll bring the balance to the co-chair positions as we have Echo. But also, it's up to y'all. If you want to change up, if someone from Josephine really wants to do the co-chair position, or, that's up to y'all to sort. Lisi, Andrea, and I, we're here just to file the paperwork for you guys. So think about it. If it's something, I personally like the equal representation, because I think it's very in tune with our own program and our student voices. So, we're hearing from rural counties, we're hearing from Jackson County, which to me is like big city living, and it's just different. So think about it. If you have questions, you can email me. I'll put my email down in the chat and my contact. I'll probably share Echo's contact with the Painted Horse recovery schedule as well. And then we'll share out that flyer for Wednesday's event. If you have any questions regarding human trafficking, we'll have Allison's contact available for you as well. If you want to get a hold of her, we want to welcome Mariah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
It wasn't too boring, but this is it. Yeah, Miss CPC, welcome. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to
Glad
stop
to be
recording.
here.
Thank you. We're honored to have you.